Hola, pasa? Welcome to episode 13.
Big celebration here.
It's Thursday and I'm in the office. This is the first time I've recorded this week. That looks weird with my thumb on the table. This is the first time I've recorded this week because nothing's really been happening. I've just been in the office, getting into a routine, getting stuff done, catching up on the last couple of weeks and a lot of work that's on at the minute. So it's all good, all gravy. Unfortunately, last Sunday, combat jiu-jitsu was on in Mexico. Austin and Marcelo were competing and unfortunately neither of them won, but Austin got to the semi-final, Marcelo got knocked out first round. Austin got a couple of nice wins to get towards the semi-final and then got beaten, but it was still a good day out for them. Kit looked well. Just on to the next one. These things happen, can't win every day. Oh well. Alright, that's pretty much the update. That's what's been happening this week. This is episode 13 and I did say there was going to be story times. I'm not going to get into it now, but I will get into it later on. And the next clip is going to be me talking about the number 13, why it's important to me, not important to me, why it has become important to me, how I've developed it and made it part of my life. Alright. Wow. I'm going home. Hola, pasa? It's Friday. Let's get into the number 13. Friday the 13th is a big thing, obviously. Today is not the 13th, but we'll go with it. It's Friday, it's close enough. Why is the number 13 important to me? It did start with Friday the 13th. When the year I turned 17, I'm not going to say what year that was, there was 3 Friday the 13th that year. Something happened on the first 2 Friday the 13th in my life that I was like, okay, that's strange. They were positive, so I was like, okay, let's run with this. And then a thing that I looked it up last night to see what the name of it was. It's called the Bader or Baader-Meinhof phenomenon, or frequency illusion. Essentially, hold on. I have my phone here, so I'm going to read out the actual definition. The Baader-Meinhof or Bader-Meinhof phenomenon is a cognitive bias referring to the tendency to notice something more often after noticing it for the first time, leading to the belief that it has an increased frequency of occurrence. I think we've all seen that. Perfect example is a few years later, which I'll get back to in a second, when I was buying a particular type of car. I started looking them up and then I started seeing them everywhere. So it was a similar type of thing. On the 3rd Friday the 13th that year, when I was 17, I had my driving test on Friday the 13th and passed fine first time. But that was like coming back to the frequency illusion bias of, okay, 3 Friday the 13th in 1 year. When I was 16, 17, already feeling like I'm some sort of, not an outcast from society, but like there's something different going on here. And I'm starting to like mold an adult brain and I'm very malleable and influential, not influential, the other word, easily influenced essentially. That's where I kind of started. Then over time, I kind of had it all in the back of my head. Then every Friday the 13th, I was like, I'd flipped it in my head. I was like, everyone's panicking about this. Everyone's nervous about Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th is a good day. So yeah, I kind of ran with that, kept it going. Then in 2013, in 2012 actually, coming up to 2013, the Irish government announced that they were going to change the car registrations in Ireland to not say, so if you're outside Ireland, the first part of a car registration is the year. So it'll be 12, 13, 14, 15. But in 2013, they were worried people wouldn't buy cars, so they changed it and split the year in 2. So it was 131 and 132. That annoyed me. I was like, now I can't get a 13 reg. But fast forward a few years, in 2017, I did go out of my way to look for a 2013 Golf at the time, which is the white Golf that I was referring to earlier. In between that period, in 2015, on Friday, the 13th of March, I got XIII. I designed it and designed it roughly. I'll put it up here somewhere. Went to a really good tattoo artist in Limerick, let him put his spin on it and got it tattooed on the inside of my arm. So that was me connected to the number 13 for life then. Fast forward a couple more years, I was working in Dublin. Spoke about this in the first episode. Hated it, didn't like what I was doing, wanted to kind of branch out, was into kind of bodybuilding training at the time, started Chris Brennan Fitness as a Facebook page, started doing a few videos. This is Chris Brennan Fitness. I'm Chris. What is this? Page is still there if you want to go back and watch it. I'm not going to link it anywhere because they're not that bad. Some of you probably remember it because there's not that many people watching these videos. So so I started Chris Brennan Fitness, started doing t-shirts after a little while, realized that the process of getting t-shirts made was way more enjoyable to me than the process of developing training programs and training people. I thought about, okay, let's think about a clothing brand, a streetwear brand, something like that. What can we develop out of that? What is in streetwear, what's like the genesis of a lot of brands is like outcast of society type things. So let's go with the number 13. So I developed 13 Crew, XIII Crew. I mentioned it, I think last week in the video or a couple of weeks ago. Not sure if I mentioned it in the very first video, but that was my first real, I suppose, venture into like sourcing from Asia. So I sourced t-shirts, phone cases, and was playing with the construction of t-shirts and layouts of logos and what we could do. And it was all going to be quite plain and minimal, but it was all based off the number 13 and having a story around that. I might still come back to that, so please don't take it in the meantime, but I probably won't, in fairness. But then I was like, okay, streetwear is quite competitive. It's going to be very tough to break into. What am I good at? What do I do? So at the time I was a design engineer, which is what I qualified as. I was working as that and I thought, let's go freelance. So I started 13 Design Consultancy, which is how that started. Got a 3D printer and that kind of evolved into its own thing that's kind of separate and went more graphic design route, which is how we ended up with ZOMA. Before we got to ZOMA, March 2020, we all know what happened. A couple of days before it happened, before it officially was announced in Ireland, there was a Friday the 13th. Lockdown and everything that came with that and everything that's happened since, looking back at it now, is essentially the best thing that's ever happened to me. It flipped what I was doing at the time, something I really wasn't happy with, to firstly, during the lockdown, I loved it. It was nice weather. I live in the country, so we had loads of space and everything was great, and it was a really nice time to be able to reset and all of that stuff. Looking back on it, it was brilliant. But then that also led to the genesis of ZOMA because people had to go online, and the combination of myself, David and Richie and what we were doing came together towards the end of 2020, and that's how ZOMA started in 2021. So essentially, that is the breakdown, and that's the story of why the number 13 is important to me, and it's all down to frequency illusion and the the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon. I'm going to call it the Bader-Meinhof. I'd say that's how it's pronounced. I'll put it on the screen and you can look it up, but I think everyone knows what I'm referring to. When you think about something or you see something, then you tend to see it more often. Now I have a tattooed on my arm, so I'm linked to it for life. Because the number 13 is important to me, and because I'm starting to get into the rhythm of recording, and now last week I had a new editor. Last week I had a first editor. Up until then I had been editing these videos myself. This week I have a new editor. So this guy reached out to me out of the blue with a sample edit, emailed me. He's not from Ireland, he's not a native English speaker, but within his email he had references to obviously me speaking Spanish in the videos, but also put in some Irish, which I was impressed at. So shout out to you. And he's doing a really good job. So this week's episode 12, is almost ready. That'll be going out tomorrow. And then he's going to be editing this. And as you will have seen already in this video, he has developed a new intro, and I think it's quite cool. So obviously the first one that's been going for the last 12 weeks is just one that I put together at the start to have some sort of an intro and some sort of structure to the video. But I think, yeah, this one's newer, better, nicer, and it's a step forward. The style of editing as well has changed a little bit this week. So yeah, I think we'll stick with this for a little while, see how we get on, and I'm a fan of this editor. All good. All right, that's the story of the number 13. It's now 8:45 in the morning and I have to go and do some work. So I'll talk to you later. If there's anything that comes up in the meantime, is there anything? No, there's nothing really. So this week has been quite boring to a certain extent. It's just been catching up a lot of work and getting a lot of things done. So we're quite busy at the minute, which is good. We got a lot of CVs in yesterday, particularly for some reason. And we're gonna sort through some of those, see if any of those people are a right fit for us, if they're the right people that we need, and hopefully we can start filling out the team. If you do want to apply, go to zoma.ie/careers and there's job postings up there. And we're done. Hola, pasa? Welcome to Saturday morning. This is really just an outro clip for episode 13. I haven't really updated you on anything that's happened this week because there hasn't been a whole lot. It's just been a lot of kind of jumping from project to project. A lot of, I'm not going to say boring, but kind of bog standard print design jobs. So a lot of small format and quite a bit of large format print design actually, which it's like buses. You wait for two, you wait for one and two come at once and all that. Yeah, we've a couple of billboard designs that we're working on this week. They'll hopefully be going up in the next few weeks, probably maybe a couple of months. So when they go up, I'll show you a preview and a real physical picture, and we'll compare them side by side, see how they looked on screen, how they turned out in reality. And that's really it. This week's just been kind of jumping from a couple of design projects to design projects. Nothing overly exciting, nothing really exciting to show you. So let's just stick with the number 13 being a cool as number. I did get another pair of Yeezys this week though. So we've got one pair this week. We got the Yeezy Slide Bones this week. I'm going for the Onyx Foam Runners as well. And I was gonna go for the white 350s. I can't remember what the name of the colorway is, the white ones. I was just gonna go for them for personal because I think they're cool as and I changed my mind because they're not as cool as as I want them to be. Does that make sense? Not really. Just going to be impossible to keep clean, so I said no. That's the number 13. That's this week. That's me. This is my office. This is my channel. You're going to see quite a bit of a difference in the style of video this week, I think. Maybe not the style of video, but we have a new intro and a new story time intro that will be kind of embedded in a few clips when story time comes up in future. Shout out to my new editor. He is the man. So we're going to stick with him for a while. And we've already been talking about improving the channel in terms of the back end technical stuff, SEO stuff, and looking to promote it and doing a bit extra on socials. So if you're watching this and you haven't watched any of the videos before and you're watching this because I've slammed out a load of reels on social media, go watch some old videos. This isn't really a representative video of the channel. This is just me harping on with the number 13 because I love it. Yeah. All right, that's all. That is it for episode 13. Thanks for your support to date. Also, if you are new to the channel and you haven't been watching it before, do the old like the video, subscribe, and stick around. Stick around for next week. Every Saturday, 7 a.m. Irish time. Let's go. Bing, bing, bing. Are you... That's it's right. But then I have my phone here, so I'm going to read out the yeah, leave it at that. And also, editor, cut that out.